Pro Wrestling Podcast. Listen up, wrestling fans.
That's right, geeks.
Bob Roode.
What's up, Bob Roode? This is Tommy Stryker, and over there is Taco.
What up?
This is the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about the best pro wrestling in the world. Lots to talk about today, just a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania.
Woo!
Joe couldn't make it today. He is on assignment. I believe he had to have minor dental surgery.
From fighting U.S. Marshals.
So, yeah, and so he'll be back facing Asuka next week in the mixed match challenge. Yeah,
Cool. He just got some steroids from John Bravo.
Word. So, yeah, Joe will be back next week for the big WrestleMania preview.
Yeah.
And normally we do, like, predictions or whatever, which we'll probably do, of course. But I definitely want to do, like, an emotional pick segment or part of the predictions. Who do we want to win all of these crazy matches at WrestleMania? And we'll do that for NXT TakeOver as well. So we'll get into all of that next week, and we'll get into all of it this week because we got a lot of little stories going on the way to WrestleMania.
Yes,
yeah, awesome 205 live this week.
Man.
I've been sticking around watching that. I actually did check out Mixed Match Challenge, so we can get into that a little bit. But I mean,
It's fun. You could tell they're having fun with that shit.
Yeah.
That's what's awesome about it.
So yeah, I got into all of that this week. I watched a little bit of Impact this week, and let's kind of get the. Believe it or not, I do want to talk a little bit of Impact here, and let's just get it out of the way because I don't want to forget to talk about it later. But I know you checked out like a 2-week-old
Couple weeks
Impact.
ago, yeah, it was first time ever. Johnny Impact against Austin Aries. So I was like, fuck, man. I've been, hearing a lot of good things about Impact recently. I just found out recently that their streaming service, GWN, has backlogs of Impact. It's about 2 to 3 weeks behind from when they air, though. So I was like, cool, let's fucking get the most recent one. And it was this match. And yeah, it was a good fucking match between the two. And just watching it from start to finish, kind of skip through a little bit. Not Titus mode, but just kind of speed it up. But yeah, everything was fucking awesome, and it was just no bullshit going on, no fucking crazy cuts, no crazy zoom-ins.
Okay.
It felt like just watching a wrestling show again, and
That's good. That's interesting.
And fucking even Chelsea Green, her name's escaping me in that, though. Even that match with Allie was fun to watch.
Is that Laurel Van Ness?
Laurel Van Ness,
Okay.
Yep. It was her big match against Allie for their Knockouts championship. And
Sure.
yeah, it fucking kept me in the whole time and everything. And yeah, it just felt like actual wrestling storylines and actual watching a wrestling product instead of like oh, you got all these guys. What the fuck you doing? So it felt very good, and it in a sense makes me want to. I wish I had access to Pop TV to kind of keep up with it more, fresh instead of 2 or 3 weeks behind. Because, I'm glad I've kind of been optimistic on them. I've been open on them, but not watching and dogging them. But I'm glad they're making these changes. You could tell it's actually working.
That's interesting. Here's the thing. Last week, I gave him a chance. I've been giving him a chance here and there, but the early part of the show has been enough to just turn me off, and I'm just like, fuck it. And I just shut it off. Like, I won't finish watching, and maybe I need to do a little more Titusing with it. And maybe kind of get to the second hours and start watching some of the better stuff that I keep, because I hear good things about it. But so this week I tuned in, and the opening part of the show was an Austin Aries promo. It's going to be him versus Alberto Del Rio or Alberto El Patron. They're going to have a big match in like a month from now. And so they were doing a really long promo for that. What largely it was decent. It wasn't, it didn't hit you over the head with like it didn't feel as scripted as a WWE thing. So that part I liked about it, but it did feel like they were dragging it out to last longer.
Sure.
And that's what kind of turned me. Like there was a part where I don't know. Alberto just kind of kept repeating himself, saying the same
What?
stuff
Peril?
over and over again.
Peril.
And then he goes to leave, and Austin Aries is like, "No, go ahead. You play. Truck, play Alberto's music so he can leave or whatever." and the bit was, I wanted to play your music because you're not going to be able to hear your music after I win in our title match, whatever, blah blah blah. And then they stretch it out some more and do some more shit talking after that. So it was fine. For the most part, it was good. It just felt like they were filling time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I didn't like that. And then the first match, after 20 minutes of that, was Trevor Lee versus some fat guy. And I apologize for not knowing his name. I didn't take notes on this thing. I was just I wanted to check it out. Mm-hmm. And it was a dumb comedy match. And I was like, okay, so you're going to do a long fucking promo and a dumb comedy match. I'm out. I'm like, I just turned it off at that point.
Sure.
So I guess the lesson here is I need to kind of get through the bullshit.
See, everything I was watching was just kind of the silliest thing that I watched was EC3 with that Feaster fired briefcase, and
sure,
comically they had different wrestlers just saying like, "You're gonna get fired," because but I thought it was done in such a good way, because by the time that I'm trying to put myself 3 weeks when this aired. Well, fucking let's rewind a month before that. We already saw EC3 on NXT TV. So
right.
They played it in a good way where, they're kind of mocking us like, we all know it's coming, yeah. So just having a couple wrestlers going by like, nah, you got the one where you're fired. Hell, you're fired, and just cutting him off and him just looking really annoyed was funny. And then eventually the production guy started coming through doing the same thing like, you're getting fired, and he's just over it at that point. Well, so it's just, they did it in such a good way.
And that's good because, yeah, everybody knows he's getting fired.
Yes.
The spoilers are out there. He's on NXT. And so I like that they take that approach instead of trying to,
Ring of Honor it.
Yeah. Or just, what's really in the briefcase. Everybody knows he's got the fired one.
Yep. So that was, that was done in such a good way. And, everything else I watched was just straight wrestling matches.
And hopefully that's the last time they do the feast or fire gimmick. Or at least if they do it in the future, it's, again, the same approach to where, well, we know this guy's out, so
right.
Might as well go with that approach. So, okay, I like that. So, yeah, I need to give it a chance. I need to at least Titus my way through the thing, or maybe start with the second hour.
It's kind of hard, too, because, we're so used to seeing some of these guys like Sami Callihan or Laura Van Ness, more on the indie scene, kind of just being fun, bar wrestling, chaotic,
sure.
Just freedom, where they're still on TV with Impact, so it's just kind of, bunned up slightly.
Right, but I think what Impact needs to do, again, check out Strong Honor this week. That big New Japan show that they just had in Long Beach, California, was such a different approach to pro wrestling than what WWE does. And when I tune into Impact, I want to see something different. And then when they start with a 20-minute promo and then go into a dumb comedy match with, nothing. Comedy matches are fine. I get them. They have their place. I like them at indie shows. I like them at big-time shows. But just for whatever reason, it turned me off in this spot. And it just didn't stand out as, this is something different. This is something I need to tune in for. It was just like, okay, this is some bullshit,
right.
And so Impact needs to do something to stand out be different from what else is out there. And I think taking a more indie-like approach would be a good thing. And again, maybe
they definitely are, though.
Right. Again, a lot of the onus is on me. I got to watch the show, I guess, I got to wait to get to the good part. But again, I'm putting some of this on Impact too. If you're going to want to keep your viewers around, maybe don't present a product that looks like cheap WWE. Right off the bat. It
doesn't really feel like that much anymore.
Okay.
It feels cheap NXT in a sense.
Okay.
Where, it does feel smaller. I actually liked, they kept hyping up the, I'm just going to say the event was called Crossroads maybe, whatever, with Johnny Moo Impact and Aries. I forget what it was called, but I liked the background that they had. It was just like the big fucking Tron that Ring of Honor and NXT does. So it's just, they're bringing it back a little bit.
I wasn't even necessarily talking about the production value of it and all of that. It's just as I'm watching it, it's like, okay, well, they're trying to do what WWE is doing. So instead of that approach, again, just watching the New Japan show, it's jarring how different it is from WWE's approach. It's very sports-like, commercial breaks in between matches as opposed to during matches. A straight-up approach with two guys calling it like a sport. And that's not necessarily what Impact should do or could do, but just something different. There's a different way of doing it. You don't have to have the ramp on the left and the WrestleMania sign on the right.
Right.
Just do so. You can do something visually different. You don't have to start with a 20-minute promo. And if that's the way WWE has been doing it for years, maybe just move that 20-minute promo somewhere else or do something different. But again, I've been hearing good things, so I need to check out the good stuff,
right?
And maybe fast forward through some of the things that I don't like to give a more, if for nothing else, to give a more educated response to what's going on in Impact, because I don't know, because I haven't been watching. I've only been watching a little bit.
I want to keep up on it too, because to me, wrestling is getting to that point where I'm skipping around to different promotions to follow like a certain wrestler, and I still want to see the Johnny Mundo's, the Taya's going in there, and then the most recently, what's her name? Sue Young.
Oh yeah.
She just made her Impact debut. It's like, I want to see her wrestling outside of the bar wrestling scene too. Like I want to see more. I want more readily available matches with these people.
And the guys that they have in there now, the Sammy Callahans, who I've really gotten into lately. We just saw him at a local show, First Wrestling, at the Uptown VFW here in Minneapolis. Seeing him live is a completely different experience. The intensity, the fire.
Oh, just being able to hear the ladies in the crowd just ew as he's covered in his own spit. Fucking awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, again, these are people on Impact that I like, Brian Cage, Sammy Callahan's there. I like what Johnny Mundo's been doing, Johnny Impact. I like what he was doing on Lucha Underground, and that he's kind of bringing that to Impact. Again, Taya with as part of his group or whatever.
Yep.
All of those, these are stars that I like to see. So I need to tune in.
Kind of going back to that first wrestling that we went to, the first one that they came in town with Tommy Dreamer and Abyss. It was just so awesome to see Abyss alive, because I'm not going to go to a TNA show out of my way, even if they were on a regular touring schedule again.
TNA?
What is that?
Impact. But, the dude's putting in his time, so it's like, fuck yeah, I want to see him live. I want to see him do some things. And it's just, it's awesome being able to do that. I can't, see Randy Orton and it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna be in Chicago next week, without going to see the whole WWE experience.
All right, let's move on from Impact. I wanted to talk about some Twitch stuff with WrestleMania weekend coming up. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff on there. Speaking of Impact versus Lucha Underground will be free on Twitch, I believe. You just recently checked out some Wrestle Circus.
I did, yes.
Do you know if they're doing anything WrestleMania week? I hate to put you on the spot, because I know you're kind of looking some stuff up here as we're talking, but
I was just trying to pull up their stuff. I feel like they would. It'd kind of be dumb not to, but
they do stuff mainly out of Texas.
It seems like out of Texas, yeah.
So they're not too far from that region, but maybe not quite popular enough to do something, to move that far away with all the other indie stuff going on with Evolve and Joey Janela and all of those other guys.
And they kind of have their own local issues going on too. And then there's so much wrestling going on that weekend too. It's like, who are you going to have to book?
Right.
But yeah, it was an awesome show, though. The main event was Penta LM. I always want to call him Penta.
We can call him Pentagon. It's fine.
Pentagon against Shane Strickland. Those two guys are just
I like both
zero
of those guys
fucks.
Too.
They're gonna go at it. There's a point where they're sitting in chairs in the middle of the crowd, just slap fighting each other. Fucking just going at it.
I got to see if I can check that out post live now, because I'd like to check that out. But it sounds like AAW is going to be doing stuff on Twitch now too, which is really they're a really good indie group out of Chicago, despite quietly booking Michael Elgin last month or whatever. But aside from that, they've hopefully learned their lesson. But they book a lot of great indie names, bringing a lot of cool talent for their shows. So yeah, with them being on Twitch. And then, all the other, the Kaiju Big Battle and Joey Janela Spring Break. It'll be interesting to see where those things pop up to watch WrestleMania weekend. I'm going to try. I'm going to say this and watch me forget to do it, but by the time next week's podcast drop, but I'll try to put together a nice list of what's going on WrestleMania weekend so we can talk about where things are and what's going on, and we'll talk about it here on the show next week on the Go Home for WrestleMania. So
well, on the note with the Twitch stuff though, to subscribe though, Amazon Prime members get a free subscription. Otherwise, watch it live. Is the big thing.
Right.
You get one free a month, and yeah, it was fun. It was definitely like going to those VFW shows. They got their local guys sprinkled in there, and they got Chelsea Green and Blanchard beating the hell out of each other. So,
and I don't think I talked about it, but I watched a Wrestle Circus show probably a month ago now. But the main event was Brian Cage versus Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah,
for a championship. Like, she had 2 belts, and he had a championship of sorts, I believe.
Yep.
And it was for one of the belts that Tessa had. Obviously, she had a women's belt and another. I can't remember what the title was.
Well, that played on to this Wrestle Circus a little bit because she lost that match. So her going to this match against Chelsea Green, she was just laying the smackdown on her, and the commentators like, oh, she's still mad from that Brian Cage match. She really wanted to win.
Well, and as someone who has been uncomfortable with intergender matches in the past, I've definitely with Lucha Underground has helped me come around, as well as just the state of wrestling now, and a lot of different opinions. People have been coming to the defense of intergender wrestling, and I've really come around on it. And that match really helped out too. It was a really good match, told a great story, emotional outcome at the end, and him showing her respect at the end, sort of, kind of. That
was a kind of common theme through the whole show, though. Was a lot of these matches, they were just beating each other up, whether it's the local guys or the bigger guys, and everyone was still holding hands and celebrating with each other. It's fucking awesome to see, though. That's what we want to see. We're there for the same thing.
Yep. All right, well, the internet is screaming that we haven't started talking about Monday Night Raw and WrestleMania yet, so let's get right into Monday Night Raw, shall we?
The subject. Monday Night Raw!
Do it to Joe.
Decent Raw this week. I liked Raw better than SmackDown, we're spinning our wheels on the way to. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons here.
Just hit them all at the same time. It's like an elevator.
What am I doing here? All right, good Raw this week. Okay, Raw. Main event: John Cena versus Kane. Again, this wasn't something that was like, ooh, I gotta tune in to see John Cena versus Kane. But we still didn't get an answer from Kane. We got John Cena mocking Kane with the thumb across the throat and rolling his eyes back in his head. He wins with an AA through the table because this match, of course, was.
This matchup is now anything goes.
So John Cena getting the big win there. But no answer from Undertaker. What side are you on here, Taco? Do you want to just wait and see what happens at WrestleMania, or do we need to hear something from the Undertaker next week?
If John Cena really wanted to get into WrestleMania, there's an Andre the Giant Battle Royal he can enter. But I am on the board of what does that mean? Waiting until fucking WrestleMania and just fucking John Cena coming out and being like, really? And just fucking he comes down on that fucking Harley. Like, you
want the badass.
If we're gonna get the badass, we have to have it at WrestleMania. You can't give it to us on Raw because that pop is gonna be fucking huge. Because they're not gonna boo it at WrestleMania.
No,
that crowd's gonna be too fucking stoked and geeked out over everything.
And again, there's a nostalgia for it. People are talking about it. Nobody's gonna boo the badass.
It's just him coming out on Raw like that. Nah, I want Cena coming out and be like, finally, this is your last chance. Boom, it hits. It happens.
I like the idea of him. I feel like we need to see him on Raw for some reason, but I don't want to see the badass on Raw. I want him to come to Raw like he came to Raw 25 as the Dead Man, as this, but then teasing the idea of showing up at WrestleMania as the badass, very, very subtly, not over the top, not just
kind of like
get people
Triple H and Mankind were fighting each other. And he's like, "I can't fight you as Mankind." He starts ripping off his clothes and bang, bang, and Triple H just looks like a ghost.
Something like that. Maybe a little more subtle than that. But for some reason, I feel like I need to see, because Raw is 3 fucking out. I need something big.
It is, but
something big.
I love, like, even John Cena on Instagram, he's like posting the memes like, come on, do something.
Yeah.
Like, I love him just poking the bear nonstop. Like, he's, if anybody's going to continue a feud one-sided throughout WrestleMania, it's John Cena.
Right. But yeah, I feel like I need to see The Undertaker next week. If I don't get to see him until he shows up at WrestleMania, I'm okay with that. But I feel like I need a tease. I need him to hint at this badass. But I agree with you 100%. If he does the badass thing, save it all for WrestleMania.
Save it.
If you do it at Raw, it takes something away from it. But he can do his regular, long-ass gong entrance, all of that, because that's going to take way too fucking long at WrestleMania. It's already a 7-hour fucking show. But if he can come out on the bike at WrestleMania and shave 10 minutes off that entrance,
awesome.
That'd be great.
Well, we're going to have like a 15-minute Kid Rock performance.
Do us a solid. Well, maybe he could come out during the Kid Rock performance. Kill two birds with one stone. That's all I'm saying. That would help out things a lot. Heyman at the beginning of the show said Roman is not here. Then he shows up and Brock Lesnar beats him up with chairs and the stairs and all of that. Suspended Roman Reigns. He must have a really good lawyer after beating up them U.S. Marshals last week. What's your level of excitement going into this thing? But what were you going to say? Something else?
Rewinding back to that Wrestle Circus, some of the guys that were playing the U.S. Marshals were on Wrestle Circus.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so it's funny seeing the U.S. Marshals on there. They even pointed that out. They're like, we don't give a fuck. But what was the question?
What's your level of excitement right now for Brock versus Roman Reigns?
Way more than WrestleMania 30 for sure. No, I'm actually looking forward to this match. I think Brock has more respect for Roman Reigns at the last couple of years. They're willing to go at it a little bit harder than they would normally. We don't have the fucking Daniel Bryan heat on Reigns at the moment, and he's kind of way over at the moment. And with the UFC negotiation and rumors, around the corner and everything, they're playing the right fucking cards in the right way right now. We're not getting too much Roman Reigns down our throats. Like if he's coming out and doing these promos, scuffling with Lesnar, and then all of a sudden in a match, a meaningless match, we don't need a Roman Reigns match. He's main event. You can keep him off to the side, do this. They could do it shorter. We don't need Lesnar coming out back and forth like every time. But nah, they fucking got me sucked in, man.
I think they're doing a pretty good job with it, because I constantly see online and around people having heat with Brock Lesnar, even though this whole thing is probably a work. He's probably not going to fucking UFC. He still has to serve a year suspension for this fucking...
I think it's up.
But did he re-enter the testing pool? That's the idea. It's been over a year, but in order to serve the year, you have to re-enter the testing pool for the USADA, USADA, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know if that's been done, but who cares?
I still don't know how his shit's only a year.
Either way, it plays into the storyline wonderfully, and so it's getting heat with people, even smart people. Are like, oh fuck this Brock Lesnar guy in his special schedule, and he's Vince's boy, even though Roman Reigns is Vince's boy. So for whatever reason, it's working. Here's the thing is, I don't think it's going to work as far as getting Roman over. When Roman shows up on Monday Night Raw with the Universal title, he's still going to get booed out of the building.
The hatred for Lesnar now, though, it's just like 360 out of nowhere. Like, I thought it'd be less than it is now, but people are really fucking hating on Lesnar. It's just like fucking 6 months ago, you're loving the guy.
Well, I think a big part of it is his match style has played into the heat.
Exactly.
And like the Dean Ambrose stuff getting out that Brock Lesnar wasn't willing to, put in the work and do a hell of a match and that kind of thing. And him, putting in these performances on house shows, these short matches, that's intentional. So now they're working that into the gimmick, into the story. And so, Brock just wanting to show up and fucking throw suplexes is the fucking gimmick now. And so that gets the heat. And so, again, it's the heat thing is working on Brock Lesnar, and that's fascinating. But the question is it going to get Roman Reigns over? And I don't think it is. I think it'll work in the match itself. I think people are into the match this time, and I think it might work on a micro level in the match. I think people might be excited for a title change. They might be excited to see Roman
title on Raw.
Yeah, the title on Raw. That's a big theme. Like, people are upset that they don't get to see the championship on Raw ever.
That's kind of why I want Lesnar to win at WrestleMania.
And that's certainly a possibility as well, that all of this is a work and Lesnar can certainly retain too. Because, I just don't think this is going to do it for Roman. In fact, I think it'll get Roman more heat. If Roman wins and is the king of Monday Night Raw, and AJ moves to Raw and now has to lose to Roman Reigns. If they just built up Seth Rollins in that big match a couple of weeks ago, if Seth Rollins is the first opponent for Roman Reigns, they're going to boo Roman Reigns. If Finn Balor is the first opponent is another opponent for Roman Reigns, they're going to boo Roman Reigns. Right. So that's the problem here. Is again, the heat thing's working for Lesnar, but it's not the positive heat isn't going to transfer to Roman Reigns. He's still going to get booed because he's not a heel. They need to make him the heel. But I'm interested, though. I'm into the match.
I think they're doing the right thing with him. They're lining their ducks up right, so it's just keep the momentum going. You're not going to get like a full fan turn on Roman, but people will take it easier this time around.
We still don't have an answer on who Strowman is going to tag team with. He defeated Sheamus with the Power Slam on Monday Night Raw. Elias did beat Rhino in a match, a singles match with the Drift Away. Talks about being Ronda's tag team partner at some point, but not Strowman's. But again, so interesting stuff there. But yeah, it's kind of looking like Elias at this point. I still like. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Elias being in there. I mean, it's a decent little story.
I'm really hoping for a surprise.
Yeah, a surprise would be nice. I mean, even if it's.
I walk with Elias. He's fucking awesome, but. You're Andre, man. You're on the Andre Battle Royal. Word.
Nia Jax defeated Mickey James, with the Samoan drop. Nia drops the B bomb, calling Alexa Bliss a bitch after the match. A nice little heat there. I'm liking what they're doing with Nia Jax on the babyface side of the ledger.
Yeah, it's neat.
All right, what did you think of the Triple H and Stephanie video package? I really got a kick out of this.
Oh, I loved it.
This was really cool. Them doing the training thing. Nobody works harder than us. We're going to defeat Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania.
This is our business.
We're going to repackage her after this is all said and done. We'll build her back up after we tear her down. So really good stuff. Just very well done. Mustafa Ali teamed up with Cedric Alexander, took on a couple other cruiserweights, Drew Gulak and TJP. Mustafa wins with the 054. We'll save the 205 live talk, but I enjoy what they're doing with these two. I would have liked to actually see kind of the opposite of what they did here instead of teaming together, even though they're both likable baby faces. I would have liked to see them on the opposite sides, kind of like what New Japan does.
Yeah.
Do a multi-man tag where those two are part of the mix, but we get a little teaser of those two in the ring together.
Right.
I thought would have been kind of cool. But this was fine too. It got over Mustafa Ali's finisher and got Drew Gulak out there as a guy that people are people are talking about Gulak on 205 Live, so it was good to get him on Raw, and we finally got the cruiserweights back on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
it's been
in a tag match,
right? But it's been since Enzo left. Yeah. The cruiserweights have been gone from Monday Night Raw, so finally we got some cruiserweights on the show. Asuka defeating a jobber, Jamie Frost, with a kick to the face. I thought this was what it was, but
not needed.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was good to get Asuka looking like a badass.
She really does.
No, but she's had too many matches against like a Nia Jax where she's had to sell, and make the classic WWE comeback. I needed to see Asuka as a badass. I like that the jobber got a little promo here before the match because it makes you start thinking, well, fuck, is this person out of nowhere gonna fucking defeat Asuka and give us the 1, 2, 3 kid right before WrestleMania moment?
Like, my girlfriend, she's totally on this Oscar train now, and with this fucking jobber coming out, she's like, "Who the hell is that?" I'm like, "They're called jobbers," and I explained what they are to her, and she's why, so it's just like okay, that's kind of like so a non-fan, like that's how it kind of comes across when she knows Asuka's dominant. She knows about the undefeated streak. So this Jabba, she's like, why is she fighting this bitch? Like, what the hell's going on?
Graves admonished Michael Cole for apologizing for the Ultimate Deletion last week. Remember how I talked about I was going to go back and rewatch it? I went back and rewatched it, and I was wrong. It was pretty awesome. Ultimate Deletion. What was frustrating, though, is that my DVR cut off the end of it, though. So,
yeah, I've been getting in the habit. Sling users just record the show after Raw.
Yep,
They've been kind of going longer, and I think it's because a lot of the streaming services are like a minute or 2 minute delay, so that kind of throws everything off.
At least WWE is good at putting the highlight stuff, the stuff you need to see on YouTube. So, and they did actually put out the uncut version of Ultimate Deletion on YouTube.
Well, a lot of people are complaining because the Hulu app was only an hour and a half, and they didn't have the Ultimate Deletion at all.
They cut the Ultimate Deletion from the Hulu app. Yeah.
Which, all in fairness, though,
turns out Vince McMahon not a big fan of this deletion.
No, it wasn't. It was Hulu was like, it wasn't us. WWE sends this. They pre-approve it. So
yeah, Vince McMahon not a big fan of the Ultimate Deletion stuff. He doesn't quite get it. So I'm pretty sure that's why it got cut. But it's at the
same time, though, like, sorry, it's just just looking at it, though, I would rather have it out on YouTube for millions and millions and millions of people to watch as opposed to Hulu, which is how many subscribers?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot, but, I look at someone like how Jimmy Fallon cuts their program, and it's all about YouTube hits. You get millions of views in a day.
But Hulu is like probably like the number 2 spot where streamers are it's a big source for people watching Monday Night Raw, mostly because of I can watch Raw in an hour and a half,
right?
So, instead of 3 hours. So
if they're cutting out something like the Ultimate Deletion,
it's a slight,
it's better to leave it off Hulu and give it to everyone, because then you're going to get more audience for it,
I suppose. We had the Absolution attempting to recruit Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey beats up the Absolution and stands tall after threatening Mandy Rose with a arm bar and whatnot. I know you had some issues with Ronda Rousey's makeup.
Oh, God, it was fucking ridiculous. And what's her name on NXT with the red eyes? It just... I'm sorry.
Kathy Kelly.
It just looked so bad.
Well, and Paige has been bringing the makeup game with the clown lips.
She's always done that.
But good for Rousey to stand tall in this spot.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it looked a little bit scripty, but what are you going to do? It's Rousey is pretty green, and her first ever match is going to be at WrestleMania. It's going to be really interesting to see how this Rousey thing is going to work post WrestleMania once she starts actually facing other competitors, and is she going to have the more Brock Lesnar type of schedule? I know she signed a quote full-time deal, and she said she's going to be on a lot of Monday Night Raws and whatnot, but are we going to see her in a lot of Monday Night Raw matches, or is she just going to make appearances and then have the matches at the pay-per-views? It'll be interesting to see how all of that shakes out and how the crowd responds to her. Obviously, she's going to be over going against Stephanie McMahon, and that's the reason why that's the reason why she's going to be in that match against the former Authority, so she can get over in that spot. But once she starts facing, the Nia Jaxes, the Alexa Blisses, the Baileys, the Sashas, all of those, does she maintain that level, or do they have to turn her heel, or is she just going to be an abject failure? That might be an unfortunate side effect as well.
Yeah.
Okay. That's tremendous analysis.
That's tremendous analysis.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's pretty much it. Let's move on. Let's talk some Smackdown, shall we?
Change the subject.
Where did Smackdown go? There it is.
Smackdown Live. Players, I'm going to make this a tag team match.
That's what I thought. Whatevs.
Ooh. My liver. Why not? Why not one more time? Here.
My liver.
So yeah, no,
that was the moment Shane got a bubble in his intestines.
that was the diverticulitis speaking right there. Yeah, Shane off of had to go to the hospital for the diverticulitis, but WWE moving forward saying that he's going to be in the tag match at WrestleMania. Kind of a bold move here.
I don't get it.
I'm going to be surprised, honestly, at this point. And again, the storyline's kind of all over the place, but it is kind of making sense. I mean, Daniel Bryan fires them last week, but then he gets beat up by them, so we're going to bring him back for a match. Even though, and again, this even goes back to, for months and months and months, Shane wanting to fire them, never actually getting to fire them because Daniel Bryan got in the way. And even though you're the fucking boss, you can fire him whenever the fuck you want. There's that whole logic to the storyline too. Daniel Bryan finally turns the corner and fires the guys after beating the shit out of Shane, giving him diverticulitis. Fuck, his liver has gone crazy bad.
My liver.
So Daniel Bryan decides he's going to fight him in a match this week at WrestleMania, teaming up with Shane, even though that's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be a handicap match. Maybe Daniel Bryan has to team up with Braun Strowman.
I hope that, Daniel Bryan brings in someone like Samoa Joe.
Ooh.
How awesome that would be.
That would
Those
be
two against
fucking
KO
awesome.
and Sam. Oh.
It sounds like Samoa Joe is cleared. He's ready to go. But again, it's just one of those things with so much already in the books for WrestleMania.
Right.
Why bring him back? But this could be a really good opportunity to bring him in before WrestleMania and get him on the card. That would be really cool for Joe.
I thought I had the other day. Fucking, it won't happen. But it's just when you're that strict on Daniel Bryan about his in-ring career, and then Shane McMahon gets this thing that has killed people in the past.
Right.
That's and Brock Lesnar took him off the shelf in the UFC for 2 years.
Right.
Fucking 2 feet of intestines removed from him, and you're gonna let him go to WrestleMania? It's like I want a Shane that's gonna go out. I don't want Shane to kill himself. Like, and now you're putting him closer to killing himself than putting him on Hell in Cell and jumping off.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't need a Shane McMahon match at WrestleMania.
No.
I want to see one thing that Daniel Bryan did a really good job, his promos have been great. It was great here on Smackdown as well. Him talking about, I'm sick of paperwork, I'm sick of blazers and sweaters, and I want to fight. And I want to fight you guys at WrestleMania. So that was really good. But I don't need to see Shane McMahon matches anymore. His shitty punches, his jumping off of shit or whatever, that's fine. Fuck, take Shane off the show. First of all, you're right. With the diverticulitis, there's no fucking way he's getting in the ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I love the Samoa Joe idea. I'm fine with Daniel Bryan in a handicap with those two.
For sure.
Those three can put on a hell of a show, hell of a match. We don't need Shane McMahon in there mucking things up.
Yeah, it's... They can change it to the better.
Yeah.
It's already a cluster, but it's gonna be good to see him in that ring again. Fuck.
Sure. I really like your Samoa Joe idea, but I would be surprised at this point if they went that way. Rusev did defeat, got a pinfall over Randy Orton in a tag match. I like the story to get him involved here. Sunil Singh couldn't team up with Jinder Mahal because of injuries, because Orton constantly throws around the Singh brothers, and that happened last week, so he had to find a new partner. Jinder scoops up
Someone
Rusev.
needs to make that a mobile game, just a Randy Orton flipping Singh brothers around. You get enough points, you RKO Jinder.
So yeah, Rusev gets the pin, gets added to the United States Championship match. WrestleMania Day is now Rusev Day, and made that match ultimately a lot more interesting than it was before. So we
probably
needed
taking
that.
the pinfall.
Becky Lynch versus Ruby Riott was a decent match. I was hoping for a little bit more out of those two. Lynch gets the win after some skullduggery in the match.
Skullduggery.
So the right person got the win going into the mixed match challenge, where it was Becky Lynch taking the place of Charlotte Flair, who had to have some minor dental surgery, so off the shows on SmackDown and Mixed Match this week. But minor stuff, she'll be back next week and back in plenty of time for WrestleMania. Speaking of Mixed Match Challenge, Becky Lynch and Bob Roode got the win, and so it's going to
Bob Roode.
So next week it's going to be Charlotte and Bob Roode teaming up versus Asuka and The Miz. So we're going to get a little WrestleMania preview with Asuka and Charlotte next week.
Good planning, WWE.
So that worked out pretty well. Other stuff from SmackDown. The Bludgeon Brothers versus New Day. This was supposed to be a match, but it ended up just being a big schmoz DQ. The Usos attack. Rowan goes for his mallet. We had a good New Day promo going into this thing. This thing's going to be they finally made the announcement. This is going to be the three-way at WrestleMania that we'd been anticipating. This should be good. I've been liking what they've been doing with
Fuck it, make it a ladder match too.
Hey, that might be okay. See, but that's the thing is we've all kind of been waiting for that WrestleMania ladder match to happen, and they haven't announced one yet, and I'm kind of okay with it because we've been
Ring of Honor, NXT's having one.
Right. We're getting ladder matches in other places, and let's be frank here. If NXT is doing a ladder match already, why have another one at WrestleMania itself? And it's a cliche that's kind of been they've been doing it a lot over the last few years, so I'm okay with them not doing one here at WrestleMania, so that when Money in the Bank happens in a few months, it's like, ooh, we haven't seen a ladder match in a while, and here's a reason to get excited for one. So I like that they're just doing. I mean, we're getting a lot of 3 and 4 ways and stuff like that. So I think I'd rather see more straight up 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 matches. But this tag team 3-way, I think they've done a good job building it up. The Bludgeon Brothers have been on a tear, getting jobber wins, looking strong in these brawl offs with the New Day and the Usos.
It'll be a fun match though between these three.
Yeah, it should be
really
good.
Fun.
And and like I said, going back to what the New Day and the Usos have been doing on the SmackDown side of things over the last year. I mean, those two teams have been having really good matches. You throw the Bludgeon Brothers in there as well. I know Harper can fucking bring it in that style of match. Rowan's a big dude, so
he goes hard.
He can go hard and have a role in that match as well. So should be good stuff coming at WrestleMania. Dolph Ziggler won a match that was just to promote the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
What's funny is you got 4 guys going at it for the United States title, and what about Dolph Ziggler? Where's he at?
He's in the Andre the Giant Memorial.
Way to dump that title, Ziggler.
Right.
Good for you, man. Wouldn't you want to come in and argue the fact that I'd never lost this belt?
Yeah.
Nah.
That's okay. I'm fine with Ziggler in the Battle Royal. If Ziggler was added to that, if it was Ziggler instead of Rusev, that wouldn't have made that match any more interesting at all. And adding Ziggler to make it a 5-way would not make it any more interesting at all. So I am 100% fine with Ziggler going into the Battle Royal. That seems like a fine place for him. Shinsuke Nakamura took on Shelton Benjamin. AJ was in Nakamura's corner. Nakamura convinced AJ to be in his corner because Shelton Benjamin was going to have
Gable.
Clinton Dix.
Gable Dix.
In his corner. Good stuff here. Nakamura gets over with the Kinshasa. Benjamin and Gable attack afterwards, but it ends up being Nakamura standing tall with a knee to the face after thwarting the attack. So Nakamura
psyching AJ out too.
Yep, continuing to look strong going into the match. Again, it doesn't really need a ton of hype. We're already pretty hyped for the match. So
when they were cutting that promo with each other in the ring, though, it was like, I want more of this shit. Like AJ being like, my dream match is you. Like, I like that promo at the end there, and then I liked that whole beatdown at the end, and then Nakamura just being a little smart ass, fucking going for that Kinshasa, and then stopping. And just that look on AJ's face of like, fuck! Like, it was a good way to end.
I almost got the knee to the face.
Knee to the face.
All right, let's talk this 205 Live snap, huh?
Change the subject.
205 Live.
Weird discussion.
Are you a cruiserweight? Yeah, hot show this week, and I was worried about it because with the tournament being over, the match for WrestleMania set between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, I was like, okay, what are they going to do on 205 to keep me interested? And I thought they did a pretty good job. The opening match between Mark Andrews and Tony Nese, good match, and a little bit of backstory here with Mark Andrews and Tony Nese both wanting to get their hands on Drew Gulak.
Right.
So this was kind of a de facto number one contender to get your hands on Drew Gulak match. Mark Andrews getting the win with the Stun Dog Millionaire and the Shooting Star Press. Again, they gave us a reason to be invested in the match. Yep. We're already interested in Drew Gulak because he got over before with the PowerPoint gimmick. He's getting over now being the submission wrestler.
Yep.
He was
best submission in the world.
Yeah, and he was did a promo after this match talking about how I'm the submission guy and whatever. You come at me, I'll tap you out.
Right.
He's doing the Zack Sabre Jr. gimmick, just tap out. So I like that fact. We had the Drake Maverick sit-down interview with the two contestants for the Cruiserweight title. It was okay, but I thought it got across a bit of a story between. It
shows you how bland Alexander is and how fucking Mustafa Ali is just. I like Mustafa Ali a lot, and I like Cedric Alexander a lot too. But just that back and forth promo, Ali stuck out.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought Cedric's reactions to what Mustafa was saying felt real, but again, what came out of his mouth wasn't exactly inspiring stuff. And they did the lines of, these guys are the heart and soul of 205 Live, and he's like, I'm going to stomp out the heart. I'm going to stomp out your heart. Right. It was a little cliche and kind of silly. So, but I thought it was better than standing in the ring waiting for each other to talk for 20 minutes. So I like them taking a different approach.
And there's still that mutual respect between the two there, but they're hyping that one good. I hope they get some good time for that.
And then the main event, the four-way match it wasn't really necessarily any kind of number one contendership, but it was a chance to, quote, impress Drake Maverick and impress the WWE Universe or whatever, which that was decent enough for me storyline-wise. And I like that there's the little bit of story going on between Kalisto and the Lucha House Party and what's going on between them and Tozawa and Itami. So we have those two kind of facing off the entire match. TJP just being a cocky motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
which was
just
nice.
Just chilling in everyone's fucking training, getting hyped up in their video packages. He's just laying on the floor, fucking playing on his tablet. Yeah, I thought that was a good touch.
And I like TJP's submission game too.
Fuck, man.
Doing the double submissions on two different guys a couple of spots in the match.
One on your back, one on the ground. Just yank there, yank this. Like, yeah, man, he fucking great in this.
I love that spot where he got he got I forget who it was, but they got him in the bow and arrow. Buddy Murphy comes in and tries to get him pinned while he's got the guy up in the air.
It was Kalisto.
Yeah, and then Homeboy comes off the top rope to break it up. So,
it's just like, fuck, I've never seen that before. Someone in that surfboard, whatever position, and just someone trying to sneak in a pin.
That was awesome.
Was so fucking cool. And then you got Tozawa flying across to break everything up. It's just the timing and all these odd spots were just impeccable. It was awesome. Like, even TJP, like, sinking in these fucking multi-man submissions, like, they were flawless. They looked good.
Yes. And I think my number one takeaway, maybe not I shouldn't say number one because I haven't brought it up to this point, but another takeaway from this episode of 205 Live, as I was watching these matches, it did not feel like your typical WWE match. Again, it helps not having to go to commercial in the middle of them so that you don't do the typical TV match or whatever. So that is an aspect of it too, but again, it doesn't feel like I'm watching the same pattern and I'm not waiting for, okay, here's the deal, they're going to go outside, they're going to go to commercial. Right. Okay, here's the chin lock, and here he's going to make the three elbows.
They just went out to the ring.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't find myself waiting for those patterns to happen, and so that just made it feel like a better show. And again, in that four-way, they let those guys go out there and put on a show. And by the end of this episode of 205 Live, I thought the crowd was hot.
They're sticking around.
And that first match, the Tony Nese, Mark Andrews, really quiet, not really into it at the beginning, but by the end of that match, they had that crowd. So I really think if they moved 205 Live to being not live, or even do it live, but do it before SmackDown, I think the crowd is just going to be so much hotter.
Oh, yeah.
Than, to go to these guys after, it's been Nakamura and Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and all that going on, to then go to the 205 Live, which is, prior to Enzo leaving has been the black hole. So a lot of people have that negative opinion going into it. So, and granted, they are in rebuilding mode. And like I said, the crowd was into it by the end. But I think if they do it at the beginning, you're going to have a crowd that's ready for action and ready to be hot and fired up and excited to watch some wrestling. And so I think you'd get a lot hotter crowds that way. But we're beating a drum. We've talked about that 100 times.
Right.
So. All right, let's talk some NXT.
Change the subject.
NXT.
This was a big newsworthy NXT, one that we've been kind of waiting for a long time.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people saw the spoilers that got out about this episode of NXT earlier, so a lot of people already knew what was going to happen, that Regal made the announcement that they are going to have a North American Championship, and it will be decided in a ladder match with 6 men at NXT TakeOver in New Orleans. So that was finally announced this week on TV. Like I said in previous chats talking about NXT, I managed to avoid the big part of the spoiler.
Yeah.
Like I saw, okay, it sounds like they might be bringing in another championship, and then I saw that, it looks like they might be doing a ladder match, and I'm going to scroll really fast, and I'm not going to put 2 and 2 together. So I kind of managed to avoid the spoilers on that, and I'm glad I did, even though I kind of knew it coming in. We did have the debut of EC3 tonight. As a matter of fact, he came out when Regal was making the announcement about the North American championship match, and he assumed that Regal was just inventing this title out of whole cloth to gift to EC3. That was indeed not the case. Nice new music for EC3, the 1%er or whatever coming out. He came out in his fleek suit as usual. Cool that he gets to keep that name that he built up over there at Impact. So
just sucks it's connected to Dixie Carter.
I did like they did address it on commentary. Somebody asked. Somebody said on commentary, well, I asked EC3 what EC3 means, and he just said something along the lines of, that's what it means to be that's the formula for being a 1%er or something like that. So I like that aspect that they're not actually calling him Ethan Carter III, but just keeping the EC3 moniker, I think, is good. So, yeah, we got that announcement. Regal put him, of course, into the ladder match.
Ooh.
And so...
that's news to me. I missed that part when I got here.
Right. You got here a little bit late, so we only got to see the tag matches. But, yeah, EC3 in that match with Velveteen Dream, Clinton Dix, of course.
Tatanka.
Velveteen Dream. I keep wanting to say Aleister Black, and that's not it at all. Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, and Killian Dane. Lars Sullivan is going to take on Killian Dane next week in a singles match. It was the return of Lars this week to NXT TV. We got him in a squash match, which I love because not only has Lars been away from TV long enough that I forgot about his awesome entrance, which we got to see. I love the red light, the silhouette thing they do in the ring. I'd kind of forgotten about that, and he comes out, does the awesome entrance, and then beats up the jobber. You said Ryback could have done it quicker, but I thought it was fine.
That was awesome.
Got over his finisher, and then after the match, he confronts Regal. Regal puts him in the ladder match at TakeOver and says, "That's fine for TakeOver, but I want Killian Dane."
Lars.
So we'll get those two big hosses going back and forth next week, which will be fun on the Go Home show. We'll probably get a big schmoz with all of the competitors from the North American Championship ladder match. So what do you think? Is this something that NXT needed? Do we need another title? We've already got, of course, the NXT Championship. We've got the UK title kind of in and out of the mix, but certainly not on the regular, although it's looking more and more like it's probably going to stay in NXT. But I kind of feel like we need a secondary title. I do, because I like the main world champion. I like Aleister Black going for that. Andrade Cien Almas. That's your elite level. Yep. But I like your workhorse championship. Something for your Johnny Garganos to go after.
Something that would have made Ty Dillinger stick out a little bit more. No, I'm not trying to jab on the dude.
Sure.
It's just, like, it's definitely, even Tyler Breeze. People are like, he needs to be NXT champ. And I liked the Tyler Breeze, but NXT champ, I don't know.
But he could be this
would
level.
Have been a good mid-level champ and everything. Yeah. Same with Ty Dillinger. That's why I brought him up, and he would have had a little bit more accolades when he came to the main roster as opposed to the 10 guy, Tyler Breeze only came in with good matches, and didn't really go nowhere until Breezango.
I would have been okay if they would have either changed the name of the UK title and maybe
that's the thing about it.
Merge
what
that
the fuck
into something else.
With that championship, because you've had Pete Dunne, and he's held it for fucking 260 days now, if not longer. So it's just like he's an established champion with that, and it works fine as the second tier championship for NXT. I don't necessarily think we need to bring in the North American Championship, because that already makes me think about the United States Championship. I know it's like the same continent. I know my fucking shit, but
I'm sure they still have plans for the UK title. Maybe they still want to do a UK show of some sort. So maybe they're leaving that possibility open. And so I do like, if they're going to have a UK title defended once in a while, why not have a North American title, since we're having continental titles or whatever now. So
yeah, it's dope, but I don't know. It's just I can't stop thinking about that UK title.
All right, other stuff from NXT this week. We got Charlie in the NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Control Center a couple of times, keeping us up to date with what's going on in the tournament. Again, I just love that bit, going back to the old days of WWE in the Control Center. So we had 2 Tag Team Classic semifinal matches here. The Street Profits versus Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain won rather quickly with the last chapter.
This is disappointing, man. Not just because they lost, but it just felt so sudden and such a stupid way to lose to Authors of Pain.
Yeah, it was the Ellering not drinking the Kool-Aid outside of the ring distraction shenanigans, and Authors of Pain getting a quick win. So yeah, kind of a burial of the Street Profits just a little bit. But who knows? Maybe you build them back up and they get some more credible wins along the way.
I just didn't like that Montez Ford chased Ellering up the ramp as opposed to staying in the match. Like,
right, it made him kind of look stupid.
It's a bigger match that you'd think they wouldn't do shit like that, and no one's ever done that with like Ellering in a sense. So it's just like it just really stuck out, and I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. I was expecting Authors of Pain to win, but I wouldn't have been mad at them just coming in and destroying like they always do.
Then it was Sanity, Eric Young, and Alexander Wolf versus Roderick Strong and the aforementioned Pete Dunne. Decent main event here. Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, I thought was surprising. I thought them getting the win, so them kind of getting a big push here in the tournament. So it's going to be them versus the Authors of Pain.
Weird
to see who to see who's going to face.
I'm thinking about War Games. So.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll be exactly because Roderick Strong teamed up with them. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who wins that one and goes on to face Undisputed Era at TakeOver New Orleans. I'd be okay with either of them. You got the backstory with Authors of Pain. Same thing with Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne already with a championship, though. But
it's a good way to get that belt off the line, because how many times does he go in, defend that belt, and it's the fight of the night?
Yeah. That's an interesting one too. But if they lose, certainly that could lead to some strife between Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. Maybe a rematch.
How many title shots does this dude need? Fuck.
He works really, really hard. Have you seen his training videos on the Twitter page?
It's a very nice package.
Yes, it's an awesome package.
He just had a baby.
we did have what was I was going back. We were gonna have a Dakota Kai match, but it was Andrade Cien almost attacking Aleister Black in the parking lot that spilled out into the arena that interrupted that. I'm like, what happened to the Dakota Kai match? When are we gonna? So hopefully we get a make good and we get the Dakota Kai match next week. But I guess we'll see. And then finally at the end of the show, we got the big announcement that the sixth wrestler in the ladder match for the North American champion is Ricochet.
Woo!
So yeah, Ooh. That was a really cool announcement there. Giving the nice wink to the over makeuped Kathy Kelly was a fun little deal there. But yeah, huge news. Cool that we're going to get the debut of him.
It's going to be a hell of a ladder match.
And I want to see him win that North American Championship at that fucking... Because if the North American Championship is kind of the de facto cruiserweight title of NXT, I'd be okay with that. But certainly you could build up some credibility with
Canadian wins it.
With Ricochet winning that and holding it for a while. But then again, you got the big heel coming in, EC3, that could certainly take it too, depending on what they decide to do with Almas and Aleister Black in the championship picture too. I think plays a factor into whether a heel or babyface wins that title, possibly there too. And so, and then did I mention that? I don't think I did talk about it, but we are going to get the Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano match. Yeah, the unsanctioned match. I really like how they did this too. It was Tommaso Ciampa arriving at the building, throwing his car keys at the valet. The crowd lined up outside of Full Sail, booing Tommaso, and Tommaso runs into it's the assembled press that's filming this, that's asking Tommaso questions on his way to the building. Tommaso, what did you think about this and da 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 da? What are you going to do about Gargano and this and that and the other thing? What do you think of the crowd booing you and all this and that? So they're asking him questions. He runs into Regal, says, "Regal, what is it? This guy's fired. Why is he attacking me? He's not even allowed in the building. What are we going to do about this?" He says, "Okay, well, this is your one last chance. We're gonna have a match at TakeOver, but since he's fired, it's unsanctioned." And then Tommaso's like, he's brilliant. He says to Regal, like, "You realize what you're doing? You're putting Tommaso Ciampa in an unsanctioned match." So that's a nice touch. So yeah, cool unsanctioned match. I'm wondering if that means that this is going to be one of these.
This matchup is now anything goes.
So that's probably what that means as well.
Even their little detail on Twitter has been great. Like Gargano showing up early morning at Ciampa's house, and just little things like that. Awesome.
That's what Tommaso was saying to Regal too. Like, this guy's showing up at my house in the middle of the night. He showed up at my gym. This guy's insane.
And he just runs away like a coward every time too. It's fucking wonderful.
That's nice. I haven't seen those. So that nice touch there. I love when wrestlers on their Twitter and stuff play into kayfabe, play into the storyline, and act that stuff out on their social media. I think it adds to the fun. It adds to the getting invested in the stories.
Fucking dude's even promoting like the VIP suite packages for some of these events too. He's like, if you get one of these suites and you see there, you do not stare at me. You keep walking by me. Don't even talk to me or look at me. Just so complete asshole. It's like, yes, the old heat.
So we'll get that at TakeOver. So yeah, TakeOver shaping up to be a hell of a show. Love that we're going to get that ladder match. That's just really cool. I'm
so good.
I'm really excited. I'm excited to see who wins that championship. I'm excited to see what the belt is actually going to look like. So I'm very excited. So, all right. So next week, big preview and predictions and who we want to win, emotional picks for WrestleMania. We are very, very, very close. And like I said, I'm going to put together a preview for all of the indie stuff going on WrestleMania weekend. Of course, the big one, Super Card of Honor, Ring of Honor, with Cody taking on Kenny Omega in the main event there. And lots of other cool stuff indie-wise going on WrestleMania weekend. We're going to get a lot of New Japan guys on that Ring of Honor show as well. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomohiro Ishii on the Ring of Honor show, as well as Kota Ibushi. So lots of cool stuff there. So cool. I'll put together that preview this week, so we'll talk about that. And, of course, everything going on at WrestleMania and TakeOver as well. So make sure you check out Strong Honor this week. Taco and I talked about Strong Style Evolved, the big New Japan show from Long Beach. The second New Japan's second show from the United States. A big time looking show. Cool presentation. If you haven't seen it, see if you
just need to get the fuck out of the ring.
Yeah. Check it. See if that thing is available still on Access TV on demand or whatever, or certainly njpwworld.com if you want to check out and subscribe to that service. It's definitely available on there as well. But we talked about that and Ring of Honor, how things are shaping up for Super Card of Honor and the big Sakura Genesis show coming up this weekend.
Yes.
Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the champion Okada. Big show this weekend on Easter Sunday. So check out Strong Honor at Strong Honor on Twitter and stronghonor.com, as well as bestprowrestlingpodcast.com. Check out this podcast on Twitter at BPW Podcast, bestprowrestlingpodcast.com. Send us an email, bestprowrestlingpodcast at gmail.com. Follow me at Tommy Stryker, spell Stryker with a Y. Taco, where can people find you?
Follow me on Twitter at HGREV Taco.
Where can people find Joe?
At Joe BPWP. That's Joe BPWP. I'll do his fucking skit this time.
Just like Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, Joe BPWP. That's it for this week. Thanks for checking out the show. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.
Peace.
Absolutely. That's right, geeks.
Larson.
Yeah, I got this one.
It looks like the young lovers thinking about golden showers. I'm not sure.
I just realized.
Hey, you're right, JR. They needed to get out of the fucking ring. They couldn't stand there for that long. Otherwise, it was okay.
Then I got the short one.
Get out of the fucking ring.
I feel like that's going to be used a lot during Smackdown.
Get out of the fucking ring.